Coming up on iOS today, Rosemary Orchard and I share our favorite accessories for iOS, iPadOS, maybe some Apple Watch accessories. It's all about our favorite Apple gadget accessories. Plus, we talk about the latest news, including a new bunch of games for Apple Arcade. We answer your questions, and we round things out with our app picks of the week. Stay tuned.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of iOS Today is brought to you by Amazon Pharmacy. Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance and get free 2-day delivery. Learn more at amazon.com/iOS. Welcome to iOS Today, the show where we talk all things iOS, watchOS, tvOS, iPadOS. Have I missed one? HomePodOS. It's all the OSs that Apple has on offer, save for macOS. But we even talk about that one sometimes too. I am one of your hosts, Mikah Sargent.
And I am Rosemary Orchard, and happy to be here again.
Good. Me too. Happy day. These are always some of my favorite episodes to record because I love sharing some of the accessories that I have added to my bag, so to speak. I don't go many places, so I don't need to take them with me. And have they've stayed around. They're things that I use regularly. And then it's also fun to see what other people are using, what they are excited about, and what's of interest to them. And so, Rosemary Orchard, I am so pumped to hear about your favorite accessories for iOS, iPadOS, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you want to tell us what comes first in your grab bag of goodies?
Yes, I'm very happy to tell people. So first off, I would say that if you want an accessory for your iPhone, your iPad, your Apple Watch, your Mac, your Apple TV, there's one accessory that actually goes with absolutely everything. And that's AirPods or AirPods Pro, or you could have AirPods Max. But I mean, if you're looking to go on the slightly lower end of the budget, then AirPods or AirPods Pro are going to be your jam, and they're pocketable, which is great because I have to say I used to do a lot of traveling in the before times, and the AirPods Pro pretty much became my short haul flight headphone of choice because they take up very little room. The noise canceling on them is very good, and they last for a surprisingly long time. You pop them back in the case when you're running to the bathroom or something like that, and they recharge back up really quickly. You can get them engraved with emoji or words or your name or something like that if you want to. But I just find that they are a really neat little accessory. Now, they are not the cheapest. AirPods with wireless charging are $199, and the AirPods Pro are $249, which is only $50 more. So if you're considering AirPods or AirPods Pro, then I would say the AirPods Pro are probably better bang for your buck, just because they work with the noise cancelling, and they've got the option to do the transparency mode, and they can work with your Apple TV as well. If you live in a household with some other people, then that means that every so often you might want to watch something on TV, but you don't necessarily want everybody else to hear it. And you can connect your AirPods to your Apple TV or somebody else's Apple TV if you're at their place and they want to show, a couple of people something and not everybody, then you can hear that. And I really, really like them. They are pretty much always in my handbag. I have the AirPods as well. I got the AirPods before the AirPods Pro came out, and they're both absolutely great. My parents both have the original AirPods and really like them. They are great. And, if something does happen, if you lose one of them or something, you can get an individual one replaced from Apple at the Genius Bar. Obviously, you're going to have to pay for that, but you don't necessarily have to buy an entire new set. Though if you don't have the wireless charging, you can get the wireless charging case independently, which is great. And these are just wonderful headphones. I really like them. They're really small. They are totally wireless. And they're a game changer for things like making phone calls while walking around. I can just leave my phone somewhere, put an AirPod in an ear and walk off and chat for hours if I want to. It's not a problem.
Nice. Yes. I also have my AirPods Pro, which I very much love. And you know what? I would love to hear, it looks like we both are rocking cases.
Yep.
Mine is from Nomad, a nice leather case that's gotten better over time. And I like you've got multiple colors there. Are those like soft silicone?
Are pop socket cases.
Oh,
so these
really?
So if you have the interchangeable pop sockets, then you could actually put your AirPods or AirPods Pro on the back of your phone. Now, I confess, I have never, ever, ever done that, just because that's not really me, and it's kind of a chunky thing to have on the back of your phone. But what I have done is I got the pop socket keyring, which means that I can just pop these on a keyring, and that keyring lives in my bag. So that means that attachment is always there in my bag ready, and then I can just lock this on so that then if I'm looking for my AirPods in my bag, then I find them. Now, I will say that on the AirPods Pro is not quite big enough. I'm just going to try and slide off the bottom of that case so that you can see how much extra space that adds, because otherwise this pop socket attachment here isn't quite big enough. But I love the bright neon colors. They're really easy to clean, and as you saw, it was pretty easy to get off. I usually just lift the lid and then pull the base, and then that re-enables wireless charging easily.
Nice. Yeah. The one thing I like about mine is that they include a little hole in this, or two holes in the side, so that you could put a lanyard on it. And so this is a really handy way to just keep those by you. Now it does work with wireless charging, but I noticed that it doesn't work incredibly well with wireless charging. And the more trouble that a device has charging, the more trouble a wireless charging pad has charging, the hotter it makes everything. And so I noticed in keeping the case on, things were getting pretty warm, and that's something that I'm not comfortable with. And most of the devices that you're going to use, the Qi charging, it has built-in protections for heat and all that kind of stuff. But still, it was like, all I have to do is just slide it off, and then, then I can pop it onto the charger as I need to. But as far as being able to just kind of keep this in my hand very easily, and also spotting, it visually takes up more space. It's two contrasting colors, and so it makes it easier to see where I ended up leaving my AirPods. So I really like that Nomad case, and yours definitely you can spot from across the room, which is nice.
Yes. Yeah, I do actually have a little pro tip for anybody who wants to charge their AirPods wirelessly on a standing charger. So that's one of the vertical ones, because usually the AirPods will not reach to the middle if you try and do that. So there's a couple of tricks that you can try. You can hold them upside down with the lid on the bottom, and that might do it. Or if you put a case on your phone, then you can pop the case off and then put the AirPods on top of the case. And that should just hold them up high enough that they should then be able to charge on one of those standing wireless chargers. So bonus tip for everyone.
Yeah, good little tip. So speaking of wireless charging, my next pick is, or my first pick rather, is one that I just absolutely adore. This is the Belkin Boost Up Charge Pro 3-in-1 wireless charger with MagSafe. A very long name, but this is one of Belkin's newest products that offers MagSafe charging from Apple's new MagSafe charging, as well as a standard Apple Watch puck for charging your Apple Watch. And then on the bottom is a Qi charger on which you can put, for an example, as I put my AirPods here. This, you can see there's a little black dot here. That is where the green LED is. And anything that goes in my bedroom, I cover with, these are called, I can't think of what they're called now, but they're little, you get a whole sheet of them, and they're just little stickers that you can either get them completely opaque, or you can get them translucent. And so it can kind of reduce light that's coming out if you still need to see the lights underneath, or completely cut off the light. And those are just very handy. I mean, you can use gaffer's tape, you can use electrical tape. That's what I used to do, but these are just so convenient to, you just peel and stick those on there. So that's covered up. But this is a really well-designed product. It's got nice, metal and a very soft, like silicone feel. And then it does the the thing that you don't get with a lot of other wireless chargers is the full power that you can get with MagSafe charging. Well, this one, because it is a made for iPhone device that supports MagSafe, you get the full charging. And so, yeah, as Kevin is showing in the video, the iPhone can slap magnet onto that puck with the Apple Watch next to it and your AirPods below. And even with my big honkin' iPhone 12 Pro Max, I can have it in both vertical and horizontal orientation on this charger if I want to. Although I keep it, it's for charging by my bedside at night, and so I don't really need to do that. But it's so handy to just be able to magnet these on and kind of not have to worry about it. And then I used to have a 3-in-1 charger that laid flat. It was not MagSafe, and so there was a zone where you could put your phone, a phone zone, a spot where you could put your Apple Watch. It had like a lift-up thing that was an Apple Watch charging puck, and then a spot where you could put some AirPods, and it kind of dipped in the middle so that you knew where to put them. And that was fine, but it took up a lot more space because they were all laid out side by side. And also, I would find myself sometimes in the dark missing where the AirPods were supposed to go exactly, because the dip isn't super severe. With this, not only do I get that physical tactile experience of that magnet happening, which makes it easy to just drop it on in the dark, but it also takes up less space because they've made part of it vertical as opposed to being laid out horizontally. So I'm not going to lie, it's rather expensive at $140. And so I think you really, this was one of those purchases that it was just something that I wanted. And, it was definitely not a need. It was a want. And I, wanted to be able to have that MagSafe charging by my bed and have it all be in one device. And so you really do pay to have all of those things. But it is premium design. It is, top quality, and it is made with Apple Watches, with Apple's top charging speeds that you can get from MagSafe. So it's kind of a bleeding edge in terms of that, which is what you're paying for, I think, partially with the price. But I've found it to be worth it. I mean, literally use it every day because it charges my devices at night when I lay my head down for sleep. So yeah, that's the Belkin Boost Up Charge Pro 3-in-1 wireless charger with MagSafe. It comes in black and white options. It was originally exclusive at Apple. I'm not sure if it still is, but you can also go to Belkin's own website and check it out there. And they also have one that has just the MagSafe for iPhone and then a spot below for like a normal charging puck for charging whatever you want. So I think that's called the Belkin Boost Up Charge Pro 2-in-1 or something along those lines. So yeah, that's my next pick. What about you?
Well, my next pick is kind of similar to yours, except my next pick is the GEEKERA 3-in-1 charger. So this is that charger, and it's a wireless charger. So it's got a standing charger here on the front, which your iPhone, this is my iPhone 12 Pro Max, fits on. This is not plugged in right now, so it's not actually charging. It's got an Apple Watch charger on the top, and then on the back, it's got space to put your AirPods or AirPods Pro if you want. Now, this just uses Qi charging, except for the one at the top, which is an Apple Watch charger. They also do a version of this for the Samsung charger. But what I like about this is it doesn't take up much space at all. It takes up even less space than your charger that you've got there, Mikah. And I've got very small little tables built in by my bed, so I don't have a lot of space for these. And also, the other bonus is this is around about $48, and I believe there's a discount on them on Amazon at the moment. And it comes in black and white. But one of the things I really love about this, which just shows attention to detail, is when you put a device on here to charge it. So say I put my Apple Watch on the top, it would light up in the stand at the bottom, the part that your phone sort of rests on the shelf. It's got 3 LEDs built into it. So if you put your phone on the top, if you put your watch on the top, it lights up the first LED. If you put your phone on here, it lights up the second LED. If you put your AirPods or something else on the other T charger at the back, it lights up the third LED. But those go out after a minute or so. That doesn't mean it stopped charging. It just means that it doesn't light up your bedroom like a Christmas tree while you're trying to sleep, because they're quite bright LEDs, but it's a really nice little confirmation, as well as what you might get from the device, depending on whether or not you've got sound turned on. that shows you, that it's actually charging. So you pop something on and it actually just works. And I love it. I actually bought 2 of these. I've got one on each side of the bed. So I can put stuff on charge on either side. And because it's a Qi charger, it should work with, any phone. So, if somebody, comes over and says, oh, can I borrow a charger? I can say, yeah, sure, give me your phone and I'll just put it on charge for you. And it works really well. And I have to say, I really appreciate the LEDs because this is quite a thin shelf on the front. So if I wanted to cover that with some kind of tape or something, that would be quite tricky. But this works really well. I'm really pleased that I found this on Amazon, and it appears to be available on most Amazons. I got mine on Amazon UK, and I think it was actually cheaper than in the US. So anybody else in the UK who's there going, oh gosh, it's going to be like £75. No, it was around about £40, I think. So it was actually about the same price, but I'm really pleased with this device. It works really well. It allows me to charge everything at once. And it works, and it's small. It takes up the minimum amount of space possible for what I needed.
Nice. I like the indicator, even though, for me in the bedroom, not huge fan of LEDs. I do like that 3-dot indicator so that you definitely are aware of what's charging, what's not, and the simplicity of it. I think that's quite nice too. I wanted to briefly mention the product I was talking about before. They're called LightDims, and they're actually only $8 on Amazon for a bunch of them, and you get them in all different. They come in circles. They come in squares, they come in rectangles, and so you can peel and stick however you want to. I use them everywhere. I've got them on, modems. There are 2 different versions. As I said, the blackout one completely blocks it out. And then there's just the regular version, which just reduces the light. And many of them I have just reduced light and put them on routers, modems, hard drives. Even in my kitchen, I've got them on my dishwasher. Basically, everywhere there are LED lights that are trying to shine at me, I either reduce the light or completely cut it off, depending on where it is in my house. So yeah, that was a tip from Leo a long time ago. He even uses them in hotels because hotels notoriously have like some sort of device that's in the room that's just blasting you with blue LED light at night when you're trying to sleep, and that's important. But my next pick, again, another expensive one, but I promise you I don't just buy all of these things at once. These are spaced out over a long time, and I think it was shortly after my first year here at TWiT, I decided to treat myself with a purchase that I'd been wanting to make for a while. I had the original Ember mug. I think the original one was 12 ounces. And I wanted to, the one thing that kind of bugged me was that it did not take as much liquid as I would like for it to take. It would not hold as much liquid as I would like for it to hold. And so when Ember announced the Ember Mug 2, they announced a 14-ounce mug, and that was the one that I purchased. I have now. So it's 14 ounces. It's available for $130. So again, this is, and every time I've ever talked about the Ember Mug, I've always said this is absolutely a luxury. It is absolutely, a ridiculous purchase that nobody needs to make. But as, I was, what is the word I'm looking for? I was celebrating a milestone, and I, wanted something that I would use every single day, and that is this. So for folks who don't know, the Ember Mug, the reason why I'm listing it as an accessory is because it's Bluetooth connected. So how this works is it's connected with an app. It's the Ember app, and it connects to the device over Bluetooth, and you put a hot liquid in it. So maybe I'm brewing tea, and you pour in the boiling water at 100 degrees Celsius, and that's right, I do use Celsius when it comes to my water. And so at 100 degrees Celsius, of course, is the boiling point. You pour that in for like a black tea, and you let it sit and steep, and over time, you tell it, I want the temperature in this mug, and I'm going to switch it back now because now I go to Fahrenheit for the app. I want it to be at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. let's see, 140 Fahrenheit to Celsius is 60 degrees Celsius. So I want the temperature of the tea to reach 60 degrees Celsius. I could have done that math, I now realize. Anyway, so 60 degrees Celsius is the temperature of the tea that I want. And so it will notify me when it reaches 60 degrees Celsius, letting me know that I'm able to drink it. And then as long as the battery remains charged, it will keep it at 60 degrees Celsius until I'm done drinking it. And that is what makes this so magical. I refuse to drink cold coffee. I'll drink cold tea. I'll drink cold other things. But cold coffee is a no-no for me. I can't drink it like coffee. Sorry, I should say coffee that's gone cold. And that includes microwaving that coffee afterward. Microwave coffee is terrible. And so it just has to be dumped out. And so, I get up and do different things and forget the coffee. And so then it would get cold. Then I'd have to throw it out. This keeps me from having to throw it out. It comes with a charger that it has. It's just a little charging coaster, and you can see these little pogo pins here. And so you can keep it on the charger, and as long as it's on the charger, it will keep your drink warm throughout the day. So even though it's battery powered, you can use it, free of the charger. But when I'm at my desk, I just keep it on the charger, and then I can go back and have a sip later than that. And the whole time it stays at the temperature I want, the temperature that I set it to. I love my Ember mug. That's the reason why I, started with the mug 1 and ended up upgrading to the mug 2. Because it's fantastic. So if you are looking for a way to, a lot of people think this is like it's a heater or something like that. And so it just heats up your coffee. And then once it heats it up, it's done. No, it is a temperature maintainer. It is a way to keep your coffee at a certain temperature, or tea or whatever hot beverage you have, at a certain temperature for as long as there's battery or the ability to place it on the charger. And there are some different options. You can get it like I have with the 14-ounce mug. There's a smaller mug, and then there's also a travel mug. So if you are on the go and you want to keep your coffee warm or at a specific temperature throughout the day, then you can check out the Ember temperature controlled travel mug, which is also available. So yeah, that's my next pick. What is yours?
Well, my next pick is going back to charging. Only this time it's specifically an Apple Watch charger, the tiniest Apple Watch charger I've ever seen. And that is the Satechi watch charger. And what I love about this is it's really cute to start with. So it's just the watch pack with a little bit of a rectangle around it with a USB-C connector coming out. So you can plug it into a female to male USB-C cable and then plug it into something. But you don't need to do that. So I have a battery pack right here with USB-C on it. And if I plug it in, then that's just it. It's there and it's going to charge. And now I need to get my Apple Watch off my wrist and boom, it is charging. And there we go. If I tip my watch, It should go into, that's the portrait version of the charging mode. And I really like this. It is great for all sorts of things. So I have a small battery pack that I keep in my handbag at all times. And it plugs straight into that, which means that I can always charge my watch, but I don't have to have huge cables running around for things. So this is the battery pack that I actually have in my bag at all times, and this is the charger for comparison. And I just have a short lightning cable. So if I'm running out of battery, or a friend is running out of battery, when I can see other people, then I can charge straight back up and be done, and that's great. It also plugs into your standard wall wart type plugs. I've got a Satechi charger actually, which has got 2 USB-C and 2 USB-A's, and I can plug it into one of those USB-C's and just perch my watch on it, and that's it. I'm done. I don't need to worry about charging anything else, I don't need to worry about plugging in extra cables, because I find, especially when I'm traveling, I don't want that. But this will plug into my iPad Pro, so I can charge my Apple Apple Watch from my iPad Pro. It'll plug into my MacBook Pro or my MacBook Air or a MacBook. And so you can just, pop it in there and then charge it. And it's very pocketable. And especially the Apple Watch, it's got great battery life. But every so often, an update will come out and your battery life will drain faster than you expect. If you are a developer, this is doubly so. If you're running a beta, then you know that watch batteries will deplete much faster when you're running betas because they're doing extra logging. And I am a developer and I do run betas. So that means that my Apple Watch needs charging on a regular basis. And I love to be able to charge it. I believe they also make a white version of this. I think when I got it, they only had a space gray. Satechi also recently released something similar, which charges the AirPods Pro. And then they released a double-sided one. So one side is a Qi charger for AirPods Pro or AirPods, and the other side is an Apple Watch one. I just have the Apple Watch one, but my experience with Satechi ones is just great. Get it.
How do you, I guess if you lay the AirPods down and then you put the charger on top and then you can lay your Apple Watch over the top. I was trying to think of how you would do that. No, you can only
use one at a time. You use one side at a time.
Okay. Gotcha. I was thinking you could charge both and I thought,
Yeah, no, you can't charge both at the same time, but it means that you have one little thing that can charge both. Personally, I find if you're traveling, then a small lightning cable, like a 6-inch lightning cable and a battery will usually get you through most things, especially if you're using, say, your AirPods Pro to cancel noise. But when your Apple Watch inevitably needs charging, then this is a great little, it's basically a dongle, which will charge everything back up for you.
Nice. We're getting some tips in the chat about some other options for folks if they don't want to go the LightDims route. Museum putty is another option, which I think those of us in the U.S. or some of us in the U.S. call blue tack or sticky tack. It's like this little putty that you can peel and stick on things.
It's useful for sticking posters on walls in places where you're not allowed to put pins or nails in and things like that. It's like you could stick it over some LEDs if you wanted to. I happen to like my LightDims because they're just so simple of peel and stick, but museum putty would work the same way. Although, like you noted, carrying around gaffer's tape or electrical tape with you when you're traveling, I have a feeling that putty would also fall into the category of things that might get you stopped for an extra search. Because putty, there are a number of things that if you travel with, you probably want to be careful because when it goes through an X-ray scanner, it doesn't look like what it is. So marzipan, for example, has a suspicious similarity to a plastic explosive. Ask me how I know that. I might or might not have traveled with a block of marzipan in the past, and a very unfortunate, slightly alarmed-looking security agent had to explain it to me. And then I said, I don't have anything like that. I've just got some marzipan that I was taking home from my parents for Christmas from a town just next to where I was living that was famous for their marzipan and had some lovely different flavors. And the guy looked very relieved when I told him that, but it still took 3 people to go through my suitcase very, very carefully, including, of course, my laundry.
Are you telling me that they didn't make you eat it to prove that it was marzipan?
I offered to open it and eat some if that would make them feel better, but no. Unfortunately, they did not. They accepted it that it was a Christmas present. I did have to take off the wrapping paper, but it was fine. But yeah, just FYI, be careful. If you're taking like rolls of electrical tape or duct tape and stuff, it can show up a little bit weirdly, and people can worry about what you might be doing with it.
That's pretty excellent. The next one is an accessory, that's the word, for the Apple TV in the way of the Apple Watch. And this is elago's R2 Slim Case. So I've been naming all these very expensive things. For $7, it is a silicone covering for your Apple TV remote. So it has the hole on the back for where the Siri microphone is. It has the hole on the top for the IR blaster, and it leaves the whole front exposed for you to press buttons. But it just makes it slightly more grippable, and also makes it, if you do an accidental drop, this trackpad is glass and can shatter. And so that just keeps it safe. So I ended up buying a couple of these for the Apple TVs I have in my home, and am very happy with the purchase. It comes in a bunch of different colors. You can get them in multicolor options. They have some clever ones as well. Elago makes great products for things that you wouldn't expect, some of the stuff that you wouldn't expect, including I recently saw they've got this sticker that you can put on the top of your AirPods Pro or AirPods Pro case or your AirPods case, because over time those magnets can start to collect dust, and when you close it over and over again, it can start to wear away at that covering. And I thought that was interesting. So yeah, Elago comes up with some of the stuff that you think would be kind of, I hate to say scraping the bottom of the barrel, but it seems like that. But then you're like, oh, that'd be very handy. And also, it doesn't cost $100,000. And all of that makes it pretty handy. So yeah, the Elago R2 Slim case for your Apple TV remote, or the Siri remote as it's currently called. It could be called something different in the future. We've heard some rumors about that. But yeah, what's next on your list?
Well, next on my list, Mikah, is another product. It's $59. It is the Apple MagSafe wallet. Now, I have heard a lot of people talk about this, and they've said, I don't know if this is really useful. It only holds 3 cards and things like that. But the beauty of this is I've got an iPhone 12 Pro Max here with a clear case on it, so you can see that ring. You pop it on there, and it just magnetizes into place, and that's it. It does need, you to press at it and sort of slide it off. If you've got a silicone case, it sticks really, really well. It probably doesn't stick quite as well to the leather. I didn't have a leather case for testing. But I really like this. It means that I can always have a card or two with me. So over here in the UK, we have contactless payment pretty much everywhere, which means that we can use Apple Pay up to, I believe it's £45. And then anywhere that supports Apple Pay, we can use it obviously an unlimited amount. But there are some places, like for example, fuel pumps, where if I want to fill up my car, I can't use contactless payment because these pumps have not been updated for that. And so I need to use a physical card. So that's what I do. And I also have a tip for people. If you are looking at one of these, put the numbers facing the little hole on the back, because then when you put your thumb in there to slide it, it's much easier to slide that up than it is otherwise. Because obviously, otherwise you're trying to slide against a smooth surface. So I have 2 cards and my driver's license in here, and that does the trick for me. I always have a method of ID, and I have 2 different forms of payment, as well as my phone and my Apple Watch, which of course have got all of my cards on there that support Apple Pay, and so I'm good for pretty much everything. Which really helps, because sometimes I don't feel like I necessarily need to take something with me, but it's always a good idea to have a way of paying for things and ID on you, even if you don't think you're going to need it. And the fact that this just magnetizes to the iPhone, it's just beautiful. I've actually put a little plate in my car, and it came with the holder that I put a MagSafe charger on in my car. The idea being that you would stick it on your case, or in your case on your phone, to make your phone stick to that. And it actually sticks to my MagSafe wallet to the sun shield on my car. So my MagSafe wallet, I get in the car, I put my phone on my MagSafe charger that I've put in there, and I put the wallet up on the sun shield, and then I've got them, and then I can just grab both and get out the car, and I'm done. I really like this. It's very simple. It's kind of pricey for what it is, but it shields your card. So your cards, the MagStripe strip on your card shouldn't get wiped. I have the Baltic blue. It goes really well with the blue iPhone, actually. It looks really pretty. But they have a couple of colors. And of course, there are alternatives on things like Etsy and so on. What I do like, though, is when you pop the wallet on or off of the phone, it vibrates, just to let you know that, it's attached or it's been detached. And so you know what's going on. It won't tell you if you've lost your wallet, but it will tell you, if you've, it will give you a buzz so that you've got an idea of, oh, something happened. What happened? It was just my Apple. Oh, right. No, it's my Apple Wallet, and I left it. I slid it off in the car or something by accident. I was fiddling with it, using it as a fidget spinner.
Yes, that is. I've been wondering about that because, I've seen some complaints from folks about it falling off. And I've been eyeballing it for a while and wondering if I should check one out. But hearing what you say about it does give me makes me more interested in wanting to pick one up to add to the back of my case.
I have only ever had it come off if I've tried to shove it in my bag, which has got too much stuff in it, and therefore the wallet is caught on something like a pocket or something, or if I've tried to take it off and I've been fiddling with it, like pushing it and playing with it. And so for people who do things like that, I highly recommend purchasing a fidget spinner of some kind, because that will give you something to fiddle with that is not your wallet, where you then end up leaving your cards and ID somewhere, which would not be great. But I find it's a really nice accessory, and most of the time now I do only need a card or two and my ID. And if I need more, then I have like all of my loyalty cards and stuff in the glove compartment in my car, because then if I need a loyalty card for a store, I can just grab it, shove it in my pocket, and go in.
Alrighty, folks, that brings us to the end of the first segment of iOS Today, which means it's time to take a break before we come back with the news. I am very pumped for our next sponsor, because this is a sponsor who I have been using for quite a while before the company was picked up by Amazon, but now owned by Amazon. It is Amazon Pharmacy. At a time when staying at home is the best thing for everyone, why not make it easier on yourself? Amazon Pharmacy saves you time. It easily works with your doctor and delivers medication right to your door. You can get the meds you need without leaving the house. That means one less errand and more safety for you. Here is why Amazon Pharmacy is pretty dadgum amazing. First of all, it saves you time. Amazon Pharmacy delivers your medication directly to your door, so there's no more waiting in line at the pharmacy. It's easy. You just have your doctor's office send your next prescription straight to Amazon Pharmacy. Then they'll coordinate with your doctor to ensure that everything is accurate and you're getting what you need. You can use your insurance, so Amazon Pharmacy is going to work with most insurance plans nationwide, and Amazon Prime members get free 2-day delivery and also save on prescription medication when they're paying without insurance. The pricing is clear and understandable, so there's nothing to worry about there where it seems obscure. You have to like look it up in some database and you don't quite know, or sometimes for me, the medication might be ready and then has 000 as the cost because it can't process it for whatever reason. Most pharmacies can't tell you the price of your medication until you actually fill it, but Amazon Pharmacy shows you your insurance copay and the price without insurance, so you can make the right decision. Your medical information is also protected. The medical information that you provide to Amazon Pharmacy is completely locked up. They'll never share your personal health data outside of the pharmacy itself. And you can always speak with a pharmacist. They have pharmacists on staff 24/7. Try to find another pharmacy that has that as readily available, whether you have questions or you just need advice. It is really cool. When this company was PillPack, before Amazon acquired it and made it into the even more incredible Amazon Pharmacy with lots of more features. When it was PillPack, I liked PillPack because it lets you easily kind of know what medicine you needed to take for the day or what vitamins you needed to take for the day. You could set up your own kind of plan, and they would work with a pharmacist even for the vitamins. And so they worked through all of that, got that all figured out, and it was very easy to then get a pack that had my different medicine in it, kind of in a roll. I was able to pop that open, take the medicine that I needed to, and we were good to go. So when I heard that they were being acquired by Amazon, I thought that it'd be super neat to see what Amazon could add to the experience. There's a photo showing you, or video showing you PillPack, which is, by Amazon Pharmacy now. So you can get your medication in packets along with the traditional bottles, if that's what you choose. And I just really like how it's sorted out. All of the information's right there on the actual packet itself and tells you exactly what you need to know about taking it. So fantastic service, well worth a look. Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance and get free 2-day delivery. Learn more and this is really awesome, folks. Listen to the URL we have. Learn more at amazon.com/iOS. That's right, amazon.com/iOS. just check out Amazon Pharmacy by going to our exclusive URL at amazon.com/iOS. Thanks so much to Amazon Pharmacy for sponsoring this week's episode of iOS Today. And again, for giving us that really kind of impressive URL, amazon.com/iOS. Check it out. Save time, save on your medications. I think this is a great service and well worth your time. All righty. There is some pretty big news as of this morning. Apple has announced that Apple Arcade, which is its not streaming, but it's subscription gaming service where you pay, what is it? Is it $4.99 a month?
Yep.
Yeah, so $4.99 a month, you can play any games in the Apple Arcade library. And the big thing about the Apple Arcade library is that these games are free of ads and some of that other stuff that's involved. In fact, Apple, talks about how Apple Arcade gives you no ads, no in-app purchases, support for Apple's high user privacy standards, and one all-inclusive subscription offer that gives access to up to 6 family members. So let me switch cameras here so we can look at what's available here. So this is Apple Arcade. And some of the new games include NBA 2K21 Arcade Edition, the Oregon Trail. Hello. Definitely going to be checking that one out. Hello. Simon's Cat, which is I don't know about Simon's Cat, but I guess this is a classical game. Simon's Cat Story Time.
Simon's Cat is a YouTube channel with the creator has a cat who antagonizes him, I presume, and does things like wake him up for breakfast with a baseball bat because the cat's hungry. So that's spawned many things, and I believe this game is one of them. And I'm really looking forward to playing with this. I've downloaded it and I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but it's on my list.
Star Trek Legends, this is a turn-based RPG game. And so you can collect different characters and fight against other people in the galaxy. Or, Star Trek is ostensibly about discovery and not violence, but sometimes there's violence involved. Fantasian, which is it says a diorama adventure game. I believe Fantasia is the one that's made by, the creator of Final Fantasy. Made by the creator of Final Fantasy, a new RPG set against a spectacular backdrop made from more than 150 handmade dioramas that blend, look at this, holy moly kaboli. Check that out. Beautiful. These are handmade dioramas, and you get to play in them. That's so cool. I'm going to have to get I'm not going to have enough room on my iPad for all of these. Cut the Rope, which is a classic game that used to charge you all sorts of stuff. Now you can get it without all those in-app purchases and ads and things. Song Pop Party, which was that game where you tried to guess the song before the other people did. Now that's on Apple Arcade. Let's see what else on here looks like something that Badland, Bleck, I don't know what that is. Oh my goodness, it's Fruit Ninja. There's Fruit Ninja now in the App Store, so now you're not
I loved playing this game when it was originally out.
Yeah, me too. This was a fun one because you had all that swipe area with an iPad. And now you can do that. Threes is a very popular game now available in Apple Arcade. Monument Valley is now available in Apple Arcade. That's amazing because I think that $4.99 a month, folks may have decided to check that out so they could check out a bunch of games. And now they'll get to try out Monument Valley as part of that. And I think everybody deserves to play Monument Valley. It's such a beautiful game. I believe there's also something called Bad Chess, which is really bad chess, where you play chess, but instead of getting the standard array of pieces, you get just a bunch of random pieces. So you might end up with like 6 knights and 4 bishops as opposed to, your standard amount. And so you try to play through against the computer using that. There's also good Sudoku. There are so many different games here. Ooh, The Room is on here as well. So I'm going to be busy for the rest of the day playing all these new games that are available. Now Apple Arcade has more than 180 games in the catalog, and this is very cool that it's opened up to all sorts of new games. I'd seen some of the companies behind some of these games whispering about some big thing that was going to be happening, and clearly this is what that was. So super neat, and well worth looking into. If you don't have an Apple Arcade subscription currently and you haven't taken advantage of this, then you can get a 1-month free trial if you've not taken advantage of that 1-month free trial. And then customers who purchase a new iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Mac, or Apple TV receive 3 months of Apple Arcade for free. And of course, that's for new subscribers only. So if you've already redeemed that 3 months free, you don't get to redeem it again, but you can check this out. It says titles coming soon include Legends of Kingdom Rush, Forensic Overtime, and Leo's Fortune. Does that mean I get to steal Leo's Fortune? That's fun. And so, yeah, there are some other games out there as well. I'm going to be so busy today. I'm again, not a big gamer, but Star Trek, yes. The Oregon Trail, that checks the boxes of my brain. And Song Pop Party was always fun. So it'll be interesting to see how that's been remade. Looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, me too. And at $5 a month, it's great value because you can play it on your iPhone or your iPad, but you can also play it on Apple TV with a controller or like an Xbox controller or something if you've already got an Xbox or a PlayStation controller as well. It is, I feel, great value for money. So,
absolutely. Up next, Apple looks to be changing things in the next version of iOS by adding 2 new voices for Siri and no longer defaulting to a given voice. So when you sign up for when you go to set up a new device and you go through that process at the beginning where you're hitting next and checking out all the things, one of the things that you will do is play the different voices and choose one that you would prefer. So there are 4 voices, of which 2 are new. We're going to play a little video here. Voice 2 and voice 3 are the new voices in this tweet from John Gruber. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
That's the other new one.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
And that last one is one that many of you would be familiar with. Voices 2 and 3 are both very cool. I like the new sound. They do sound, it's hard to tell if it's just that they're new and that's what makes them more appealing to me, or if they do genuinely sound more natural, because it could just be that I'm so used to Siri sounding like this that I've attributed that with sounding robotic, and these 2 voices are not. Whatever it is, I think the new voices sound more natural. I've gone with voice 2 on my device. I really like how it sounds. I was telling Matthew Casanelli yesterday, I just was going into maps and routing to different locations while sitting at my desk just to hear it say, where I needed to go and have it talk to me. And I asked it some questions just to hear what the new voice sounded like. I think this is great because without a default option, the user getting to choose a voice is just good on its own because it offers, more variation. But it goes farther than that. There's no official word that these voices are, of a particular origin. But Apple, in talking about adding these new voices, talk about diversity and kind of stepping out from the classic voices. And so, as I described it to Matthew Casanelli, it is nice that these 2 new voices don't sound like Chad and Karen. They sound new and different. And I appreciate that. And I'm, like I said, really enjoying voice 2. and just having more choice is fun. I'm curious, Rosemary, what you think about the new voices.
Well, I think it's interesting that, as far as I can tell, this is only coming for American voices. So the other English language voices, at least on my iPhone, which is running the beta, it still says male and female. I need to double check that I am running the latest beta. I think I spotted a notification earlier and didn't have time to install it, so that might be the one that brings it. But I definitely prefer that things are being referred to as voice 1, 2, 3, and 4 instead of male and female, just because it makes people listen to the different options to hear the ones that they like, instead of just going, yes, I would prefer to hear something, I would prefer my assistant to be male or female. It's what voice actually appeals to you, instead of what you think is going to appeal to you, which it sounds like it's a very small difference, but to me, it definitely does make a difference. When you're looking at it, it's like, yes, this is somebody that I can listen to and be comfortable taking driving directions from, and, recipe ingredients and things like that. So it's great. I'm really glad to see this is coming. I may set my Siri to American for a little while just to see what it's like. I usually have it's currently set to one on the current release says British male, because I like to refer to it as Jeeves from Jeeves and Wooster, the butler, or personal valet, who can do everything. But we'll see. And I'm looking forward to just general updates to Siri, because Apple's made great strides with making it sound considerably less robotic. They re-recorded all of the individual sounds so that they can just put the sounds together and things like that. It truly is wonderful. And I'm really impressed with the work that they're doing here. And I'm glad to see we're getting more and more choices.
Yes, absolutely. Now, something that happened since the last time you and I spoke was Apple announcing that WWDC will be on June 7th. They'll be kicking off on June 7th. It is, again, a virtual event. So we will all be able to kind of tune in and see all of the things as they did last year. And I'm curious how things will improve, how things will remain the same, what they've decided to change or not change. And definitely looking forward to the keynote where for folks who, aren't as familiar with Apple's announcement patterns, they typically during WWDC announce what the next versions of its various operating systems will include, what new features and functionality you'll get from the next version of iOS, tvOS, watchOS, iPadOS, HomePodOS, etc. So it is rarely a hardware event, but sometimes a hardware event, but is most definitely a software event where developers in particular will know what new tools they'll be able to take advantage of and be able to add to their apps going forward. And yeah, I know Leo and I will be covering the event here on Twit when that happens. So you can look forward to that in the future. But yeah, June 7th, that's not too far from now. And I know I'm looking forward to seeing what Apple has in the pipeline for the next version of all of the OSs.
I'm really glad to see Apple is doing an online event again this year. I don't think anybody really expected an in-person event. That I think would be a tad unrealistic, just considering how many people would go home from WWDC with colds or flu as it was. Having an in-person event at this time, especially when we're so close to the end, seems a tad ineffective and detrimental. And so I'm glad to see we're doing it online. I heard last year from a lot of developers that the sessions that they attended were really good and that everything worked really well online. Obviously it's not the same as getting to hang out with people in person. If it was a real life event, then I would definitely be flying over and I'd come visit the Twit studios, and we could even do an event live, Mikah. However, that might have to wait until... we'll have to wait until a later date for that. But it's good to see that, we know when it's happening. Apple last year did just announce that it was going to be online. And they said, we're going to announce the precise dates later. Now, they're not doing that. They're just saying it's happening June 7th, which is what they used to do. maybe a little bit later than they would have done it, but it's an online event. So hopefully most people will need to get as much approval from their bosses to spend time attending this. I know over here in the UK, usually the keynote is at 6 p.m. or so that's perfect. I get to sit on my sofa and put my feet up with a bowl of popcorn and Twitter on my iPad and just sit there and watch and enjoy and think about all the possible ramifications of what's coming in the new operating systems. And everything does just seem to work with the online event. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what happens and see how many leaks we get beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, there are less leaks with the software than there are with the hardware, but occasionally they creep out by way of folks kind of really digging into the code as things go on. What is this last story about Apple expanding more repairs kind of worldwide by way of independent providers?
Yeah, so essentially for a lot of people, they live in countries where there aren't Apple stores, or there's one Apple store on the other side of the country. It's actually faster to go to another country to go to an Apple store to get their devices repaired. Or for some people, it's just not possible. They don't have Apple stores. And so the authorized Apple service providers for a long time were Apple's only way of allowing people to get their devices repaired. So basically, if you called Apple and said, I don't know, for example, my iPad screen is cracked, then they would give you an option of you can ship it to us and then we'll fix it and we'll ship it back when it's done. Or you could take it to an Apple authorized service provider who has undergone Apple training, can order official genuine Apple parts, etc. But now Apple are going to provide independent repair shops with the same free training and the tools which are given to the Apple authorized service providers and the Apple retail locations, basically expanding this so that people, I'm sure most people have seen like kiosks in malls and stuff like that where you can get your iPhone screen replaced if it's cracked. Those people aren't using genuine parts usually. Now, they will be able to sign up and go through the free training and so on and and actually order the correct parts and so on. So when you take your iPhone 12 Pro Max that you just dropped on the floor to somewhere to get it repaired, then, always ask if it's genuine parts, and ideally, if you can, take it to an Apple store. But for those people who aren't able to do that, then, this will hopefully be available to them. And it's coming to a lot of countries later this week, like Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Australia, Bangladesh, Brazil, and so on. And I know a lot of countries you just don't have the infrastructure to be able to get to the Apple store if there is one. I lived in Austria for 5 years. There was no Apple store. My closest Apple store was in Germany. And it would have involved either a very long train journey or a plane ride if I wanted to get things. And so it was Apple authorized service providers or nothing. So it's good to see that this is rolling out. And hopefully it will continue to expand everywhere.
Yes, indeed. All right, up next, it's time for Shortcuts Corner and our feedback and questions. Shortcuts Corner and feedback up next. Rosemary Orchard, it's time for Shortcuts Corner. Tell us what you got.
Well, we have 2 questions this week, which I have pulled out. We've been getting loads of questions for Shortcuts Corner. So if you've got a question, feel free to send it in. And if you haven't had it answered yet, we will get around to it at some point. We just have a lot. So I've just been going through and picking ones. So to start with, the first question for today is from Chris, and it's about his refrigerator. And this is more of a home automation question than a shortcuts question, but I can see why he thinks shortcuts might be a solution. So Chris says, I have a freezer in my basement and noticed today the door was left open. Fortunately, I found it before any food was lost. I know Rosemary has a way to detect when her dryer stops running to alert her when the laundry is done. I'm wondering if there is a way to detect when a freezer is left running more than its expected normal runtime. Maybe something like if the freezer's been running constantly for more than 30 minutes. Well, theoretically, yes, you could do this if you can hook your freezer up to something that has energy monitoring built in. But the way that that's going to work is very tricky. It's very dependent on a lot of different sockets. So for Chris, I would actually suggest a completely different solution to what he's thinking of, which is a door or window sensor. And if you put a door sensor on your freezer door in the freezer, then the freezer door, whenever it opens, it could send you a notification. Then when it closes, it could send you a notification. For your freezer, that's going to get really annoying. But if you specifically get an Aquara door sensor, and this is one that I have, an Aquara hub, then you have the option in the Aquara software to do something after it's been open for X period of time. So I'm actually putting one of these on my freezer because I realized the other day I hadn't closed the door properly. And it means that I started having an ice buildup in my freezer, which was not good. So I put one of these on my freezer door, and I've said, basically, wait 2 minutes, check if the freezer door is still open. If it is still open, send me a notification. And it does this through the Aquara app. So the door sensor is in HomeKit, which means that I can then see in my kitchen that the door is open and the window is open, and it just says door is open. And then if I look at it, then I can see specifically it's the freezer door rather than the door to my kitchen, which also has a sensor on it. But this is an easy way to work around it. It's, it uses the Aquara hub, which is running a Zigbee network. There are 2 different Aquara hubs available now, but it works, and it will hopefully solve Chris's problem for him.
Yes. Contact sensor was kind of where I was heading, but I wasn't. You kind of touched on the way to make that work with after it's been open for a certain amount of time. So that's fantastic. All right, what is next?
Well, our next question is from David. And David starts out by saying that he is loving the show. It's got a great mix of content, and he always learns something new. So, David, I'm really glad to hear that. That's great to hear. And David has an issue he's hoping Shortcuts can solve. He was doing a web presentation of a mobile app that he supports the other day, and notifications kept barging in and forcing him to constantly swipe them up. Dave, I've had this. I feel you here. So Dave says, now I know I can set D&D to always. It would solve the problem, but I use D&D in other instances where I only want it locked. D&D, of course, being do not disturb. Is there a way to create an automation that would set D&D to always and then back when the iPhone is locked? A quick peek through the various sections, and all I can find is that I can turn D&D on and off, but I didn't see anything where I can change the silence mode. Well, Dave, I'm afraid that's because there is no automated way to change this. It's very difficult to do if Apple doesn't let you do it. However, there's somebody called Federico Vitici who has this fabulous website called Mac Stories. And he wrote an article a while ago with a comprehensive guide to 120 settings URLs, which are supported on iOS and iPadOS. And a settings URL essentially will open a specific page in settings for you. Now, he has a massive shortcut, which when you run it will let you pick from a menu to go to any particular individual settings screen. However, I decided that you probably don't want that. You just want a quick shortcut that you can run to pop you straight to that screen, and then you can run it again at the end. And so I have created for you, Dave, a very small shortcut. It just has the URL to the Do Not Disturb preferences in it. And it means that when you run it, I'm just going to pop open my iPhone. So I've put the URL in a separate action just so people can read it. So the URL is not the URL like you're thinking of in your browser starting with HTTP or HTTPS. It says prefs : which just means that it's going for preferences. And then the root that it's looking for, so that's the place it's looking for, is Do Not Disturb. And then you use Safari's open URL, which sounds a little bit weird, but it works. So if I run this, then it jumps me straight to the screen. And you can see I've got my silence set to always, because that's one of the things I actually do before the show every week is I set this to always. So if I do get a notification in when I'm demoing, it doesn't pop up because, of course, I don't want messages. I mean, my grandmother just messaged me. I spotted on my Mac. It's lovely, but you don't necessarily need to see that here. And so you can then switch it. And so the other thing that you can do, Dave, is you can add a reminder. And I'm going to do this live on the show. So there's an action to add a new reminder. And you can add an alert. And you could just say, in 15 minutes. Which if I can type in, it doesn't quite work. But you can just type a date or a time in there. I would just put ask each time, and just say toggle D&D. And then you can have that pop up. So now when I run it, it will do this, and then it'll say, what time should I remind you to do this? And you can just add your date and time. So you could say 9 p.m. and done. And then that's it. And then at 9 p.m., you'll get a reminder, pop up on your phone, say, hey, toggle D&D. And then you'll know that you need to pop back and rerun that shortcut so that you can change it, or you can pop into the settings yourself to change it. So that's how I would do that. It is not perfect. I really wish shortcuts would let us toggle settings like this. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but this is the closest we'll get for now.
Nice. I always love whenever you somehow find an answer for a thing that, sometimes you're going, how would I go about doing that? And you come up with something, and it's great. Alrighty, now it's time for our feedback. Up first is a bit of feedback from Garrett, who's written in about Homescapes minigames. Garrett says, hi, Mikah. Hi, Garrett. In months past, I too downloaded Homescapes, Gardenscapes based on an ad. I really wanted to play the minigame type puzzles, but found the ads weren't a great representation of the game. Can you suggest a game that is more in line with the minigames shown in the ads? Thanks, Garrett, from somewhere, Louisiana. So Garrett is talking the ads always show these little mini games that you play that are like interstitials between the Bejeweled style or Candy Crush style matching games. And it'll have the main character kind of in this situation where you pull keys out of the way to move him through a puzzle and then kind of make adjustments based on that. And they are, like 3-step games where it's super simple. You'll see there's like a wolf that's going to attack the person. And so you have to move the right key first to remove the wolf from actually attacking Austin. And then you do the other key so that he can move along the path. But they only do those once every, 10 or 15 actual games, or stages that are involving the Candy Crush stuff. As far as a game that would provide you some of these puzzles, you could check out our episode where we covered some different puzzle games. I think this was an episode I did with Dan Morin, if I remember correctly, where he and I talked about puzzle games. And there are loads of different mini game style puzzles that you can play. We covered some of them there. And I think that Monument Valley is one of those examples, because Monument Valley has a lot of that, like turning things and trying to pre-plan ahead for what you need to do to move the person along the path. Outside of that, I don't know if there are many, because the games within Homescapes and Gardenscapes are super simple, super simplified, super quick, and that's why they don't offer you as many rewards for beating those levels. But the other one that I would mention is called Tangled. And they are this is just a game where you can untangle ropes. And I might have shown it on the show before. I can't remember, but I think I may have. And it's just a simple, you take a piece of a rope and you move it over, and then you move it over, and then the thing kind of untangles. But yeah, so Garrett, you can check out episode 536 of iOS Today for some great puzzle apps that Dan Morin and I covered on the show. So I hope that answers your question, and thanks for writing in and for trying out Homescapes and Gardenscapes, so I don't feel so alone. What's this next one, Rosemary?
Well, the next one is just something lovely that was sent in by Arva. And Arva says, hello, Mikah and Rosemary. I have been a fan and a watcher for years. I just wanted to say you and Rosemary are so refreshing and a great addition to the show. I've learned so much over the years. I thought I knew everything, but I'm still learning more and more. You keep it fresh and exciting. Thank you so much for what you do. Looking forward to viewing iOS Today every week. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Arva, who is in Florida. And I just wanted to say thank you to Arva, and thank you to everybody who's sent us lovely feedback recently. We've had some amazing things come in over the last couple of weeks and months, and it's really lovely to hear that people are enjoying the show.
That is so touching, Arva. Thank you. I am always impressed at the new things I learn on this show almost every week as well. And so glad that Rosemary agreed to join me as co-host here. So very exciting. Our next question comes from Michael, who writes in about bizarre Bluetooth issues. Says, Mikah and Rosemary, I have an iPhone 11 Pro with the most recent iOS update and AirPods 2nd generation. I would be listening to a podcast, so Pocket Cast, for example, with my AirPods, and suddenly it would switch to Apple Music and whatever current song I had listened to. This would happen quite frequently. To throw a monkey wrench into this conundrum, this would also happen when my iPhone was connected via Bluetooth in my car. Sometimes this would be triggered when I changed the volume either up or down. It has frustrated me, and I can't figure out how to stop this behavior. Please help me exorcise this demon. This is an interesting one, Michael from Camarillo. So the first thing that I would have thought was I would get this issue from time to time where the app that I was listening to over Bluetooth, it would suffer some sort of issue that caused it to crash. And then when I hit play on my AirPods, so I'm doing this pinching gesture for those who are listening next to my ear, because there's a little touch sensitive or squeeze sensitive set of controls on the side of the AirPods. And so I'd hit that. And because Audible had force quit, then pressing that would launch music by default and start playing music. And so I wonder, Michael, if that is what's happening here. And it's hard to know because you say your AirPods would suddenly switch to Apple Music and whatever the current song was that I listened to. What I need to know, Michael, is if it just automatically did that, or if it stopped playing what you were listening to and then you actively tried to get it to start playing again. And when you started playing again, that's whenever it would start playing Apple Music. Because then it would also explain why this thing was going on with Bluetooth in your car. Apple has been working on its Bluetooth stuff in these last versions of iOS, more so than they have in the past. And with that has come lots of different Bluetooth issues on the Mac, on iPhone, on iPad, etc. And I have had a lot of issues with it causing my app to just force quit. And for some reason, Apple, well, it makes sense. It defaults to, when you hit that play button, instead of going to the last thing, it chooses Apple Music if you have, an Apple Music, if you use Apple Music. So I do wonder if that's what this could be. And if so, I don't know of a way to actively exorcise this demon because it's something that Apple needs to fix on their end. But I'm curious, Rosemary, if you have any thoughts of what else this could be outside of just a bug that has, I think, plagued several of us for a while.
So I am wondering, specifically with the car, where things are happening. I know that I have experienced issues before where devices don't actually do what they're supposed to do. And this is usually where there's a controller for things and it's sending multiple commands at the same time. So with things like a car, I would highly recommend unpairing and repairing your device and just seeing if that kicks it, because it's entirely possible that will, and I'm aware it can be a bit of a headache pairing and unpairing these things, but I think it might be worth giving it a try. Yes, of course, it could just be apps crashing in the background, which does happen from time to time. Now, the good news is coming up with the next version of iOS is there are preferences for different music sources for different things. And I can say that I am running that, and I haven't been seeing this issue so much in a while. If I've not been playing anything for a long time, then it will default to playing Apple Music again, and that's okay. I kind of expect that. But otherwise, it is getting much better at picking the right app, especially if something was just playing and, it stopped for whatever reason. I hit play, then it continues. So hold out for the next version of iOS and then repair any devices where specifically that when you do things on that device is causing a problem.
There you go. And that brings us to our app caps. Up next, our app picks of the week. All right, it's time for app caps. You can sort of hear the music there.
Yes, I can hear it, and I can see it.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. Oh my God, and it goes with your app too? That's fantastic. Folks, this is our app cap segment. These are the apps that we are using, we've used for a long time that we want to share with you, or new apps we found that we think you should check out. And to honor our app picks of the week, we wear silly caps on our head. Today, I am wearing a tiny hat made for a Chihuahua, and it is a cowboy hat, and it is choking me lightly. So I'm going to turn things over to Rosemary for her to describe her cap and to tell us about her app pick of the week.
Well, a little spoiler, in the chat room as we're recording this live at the top of the show, I mentioned that my hat matches my app cap this week. So I'm wearing a orange traffic cone hat with a little white band on it. The white band is unfortunately not reflective, but it does match my app cap perfectly this week. I'm just going to readjust my camera a second so people can see my face more than my hat, because I need to talk about VLC player. Oops, it's the wrong one. There we go. So now I have my iPad and I've got VLC here open, and you can see a selection of videos of my cat, because VLC player is a great free open source video player app that can also play music and do a whole bunch of other things. Did I mention it's free? Which means that if you don't have it, download it, because VLC is famous, especially on Mac and Windows and Linux, for being an app where you can throw pretty much any video file at it and it'll play it, which is great. And I love that. So I have a bunch of videos here. And one of the reasons why I picked the app for this week is my dad was going through and he recorded some videos on cameras back in the day. And he has these files saved, but they don't necessarily play in things at the moment because, cameras have changed over the years. And the formats that were used way back when digital cameras were first the thing weren't necessarily compatible with everything else. So he said, well, how can I play these on my iPad? And I was there going, well, I could convert them. No, just install VLC, put the videos in VLC, and you're done. And so, you can do that. And then you can obviously play back your video. So I've got a picture of my cat learning what her scratching post is here. And there are a whole bunch of settings that you can enable as well. So, for example, you can passcode lock it if you want to. So say, for example, you've got marketing videos for your company here and you don't want just anybody messing around with your iPad to find said marketing videos. You've got continue playback, which means that whenever you exit the app and then come back, it will continue playing the video. Automatically play next item, which means that if I pop back to the videos and I play something, let's pick a video of my cat playing, or ignoring her play toy, as it seems. Then when I go forward, which I can do by swiping forwards, and depending on how far I swipe on the screen, and how fast I swipe, it will, go forwards in time in the video. Then at the end, it just moves on to the next video. And yes, I have a lot of videos of my cat. I may have set this up on purpose so that I could make sure that everybody has plenty of videos that they can see. But what I really like is how easy it is to get videos onto VLC on an iPad or an iPhone. VLC also exists on Apple TV, and this trick works there as well. So I'm now showing my iPhone here. And if you look in the URL bar in Safari, it says Rosemary's iPad.local. And that is because on my iPad, I've got sharing via Wi-Fi set up, and that's just toggled on. And I just leave that on whenever VLC is open, which means I could access the IP address of the device and, I could do that. But it also does this nice friendly naming, which is really easy. So that means on my iPhone, I can select and download any one of these cat videos. Well, they came from this iPhone in the first place. Or I can tap plus and go to my photo library. And if I pop into albums and favorites, hey, there's this cute video of my cat. So I'll just send that one over. And that now is here on my iPad. So if I pop into videos, then here we have a cute video of my cat who is giving her pom-pom, it's her favorite play toy, a bath. I don't quite understand why she does that, but it's a cute video. So I've got it, and it's here in VLC. You can also connect to devices. So you can see that I've got a couple of different devices here on my network that it can connect to. You can open network streams. You can connect cloud services like Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, OneDrive, iCloud. Obviously, you can access files on your device. It can open network streams. So live streams and things like that, you can open in VLC. And you can do things like scan for subtitles and so on. And of course, it downloads things. And it downloads these things to your device. So you can put a URL of a video in here. So say somebody sends you a URL of a video, then you can do that. But if I pop into the Files app, underneath on my iPad, there's this folder, VLC, and here are all my videos. So that means that I can easily get them in and out of VLC at any time. It's not taking up space in iCloud storage, it's just on my device. But this is amazing, and I 10 out of 10 recommend VLC Player as a great app to have, and just keep it in your arsenal of tools, because it at some point will save your day when you're there going, oh, there's this weird video and I don't know how to play it. Just VLC is the answer. And the fact that it can play from so many sources makes it a great free app to have. Did I mention it's free? It's open source. So if you're a developer or you want to be a developer, then you can contribute as well and you can help make it better. Or maybe you're just a fan and you realize that maybe there's a problem with the translation. You can help fix it. So yeah, check it out. It's a great app.
Nice. I didn't realize that it was available on mobile, so that's very exciting. VLC is fantastic, and I use it all the time on my Mac. So neat that it's available on mobile as well.
It's a great thing to have on Apple TV as well. So if, for example, in the future when we have our family around and so on, and you're there and somebody says, oh, I've got this great video, and maybe they've got an Android device and you've got an Apple TV, that's okay. They can still share it with that fabulous URL. So it makes life really easy.
So the app that I am sharing this week is called MakePass. It's available for $4.99 in the App Store. It's a universal app, so you can get it for the Mac at the same time as you're getting it for your iPhone and iPad. And MakePass is a really cool app that lets you create custom passes that you can add to your Apple Wallet. So that's that thing that pops up whenever on your iPhone, for example, if you've got a newer iPhone, you hit the side button 2 times to launch Apple Pay. And below that, you will find a list of different passes. So for example, I have my insurance information, from Progressive and from AAA. I've got my health insurance because Kaiser offers an Apple Pass. And then I also have a Walgreens card from when back in Missouri, I would go to Walgreens regularly, and you could use it with your rewards and things like that. Plus an airline reward program. But this is typically where folks will put their boarding passes so they can scan those easily at the airport, and some other things as well. But maybe you get a coupon that you want to use at the store, but you don't want to carry all of those stores with you, all of those coupons with you. And or maybe you have a loyalty card that you don't want to carry that stupid little plastic thing on your keychain. That's where Make Pass comes into play. So I'm going to tap New Pass up here at the top, and I can call it. Let's call it. I don't know. Chihuahua Loyalty Club. And then this is for Chihuahua Co. And it's a loyalty card for Chihuahua shoppers. The group is a setting that it's like a universal setting. So if I was in the main screen, I could show you that you could change it between groups. So if you have like regular types of passes that you make, choosing that group will let you create that. It automatically creates an identifier. And so you see passes with the same group and type may appear grouped on Apple Wallet. Adding a pass to Apple Wallet with the same group and identifier as an existing pass will replace it. So make sure to reset the identifier if you want to prevent replacing an existing pass. So it can, when you pop open one, so for example, a lot of folks who get the boarding pass, they will have, if they've got what are those called? A flight where it takes you there and it also takes you back, a round flight.
Return?
Yeah, but there's a name for it, a round trip flight, where you get the one that goes there and the one that goes back. When you open that in Apple Wallet, it'll have 2 pages. And so by choosing a group, you can set it up with to have multiple. Then you can choose your background color. So I'm just going to choose something right quick here. And foreground color, which we'll keep black, and then label color, which we will also want black. So I think we want foreground to be different. I think that works. You can change the image for the icon here by dropping in an image. And then if I wanted to add a logo, I would add that, but there aren't currently any photos on this iPad because this is just my iOS Today iPad. And then you can set up a barcode. Let me quickly find example barcode. So we will scan this barcode that I found here. I will tap set barcode, and then there are all these options. See, define custom barcode, choose a barcode from the file, choose a barcode from a photo, or capture barcode. Select one of the following actions to set a barcode. You can manually define its format and payload, or import an existing barcode from an image or PDF. So I'm going to choose capture barcode. It'll say, hey, can I have access to your camera? You say yes, and then I will take a photo of this barcode here, and then choose use photo, and it will load. Oh, phooey. Let me make that full screen.
It may struggle with scanning from screens just because they've got pixels in, and that occasionally messes things up when it comes to scanning barcodes, just because it introduces lines where there aren't, and depending on how precise your phone is, your iPad is being, and in this case, Make Pass, then it may struggle. But there we go. If you import it from an image, it should do fine.
Yeah, so I'll choose photo. I'll choose that one. Why is it saying that? Maybe it doesn't like that barcode. So here's what we'll do instead. We'll define a custom barcode. We'll make it QR code. And then, that's going to be troublesome too, now that I think about it.
I think you can just type anything, because anything can be converted into a QR code, theoretically.
Okay, let's just choose this then. Chihuahua, Chihuahua, Chihuahua. Yeah, there we go. And then if you wanted to have a subtitle below, we'll do scan code. We'll choose done, and then we'll set this up. See, there are different options here. So I can make an event ticket. I can make a boarding pass. I can make a generic one. I can do a store card, or in this case, I'm doing a coupon. And then the strip, it says, note that some passes support multiple image types, but only one will be shown. Pass images will be automatically resized to the required height. So here I'm going to choose Well, where was that? I wonder why. Well, we'll skip that part for strip, and then we'll just choose the relevant date, which is today, and then we'll choose the location, which will be, let's go with Dallas, Texas. And, well, that didn't work. Oh. Dallas, Texas. And then we will choose something here.
Dallas City Hall. Perfect.
There we go. And then you can set different passes. So I want to show how this looks right now so that then we can start to fill things in. So I'll tap preview and then, oh, phooey, what have I done? I think I need to choose a different color for the foreground maybe. Yeah, there we go. So now you can see up at the top, it has Chihuahua Loyalty Club. It has the date for which it's relevant. And then below it shows scan this code. And what we'll do is start to type in some information here. So we'll say, let's do member number, and then a random number, A1, 2, 3, 4. And then preview it again. And so you see there's your member number really big. Then we can choose group, and we'll do group C, and I don't know, level, and we'll choose gold. And then as we tap preview, we can start to see how this card fills out. Discount, and we can choose 50%, and then we can see that, and then I'll do two more here. Time 2021, whoops, and expires, and we'll do, I don't know, April, actually, no, we'll do 04/2021, done. And then we'll choose preview. And there, now you can see how this one fills out as you filled in the blanks. Now, there are things that you could put on the back as well. So you could fill out these labels here. And then you could even go as far as to set an associated app. So it says the associated app will be shown in the pass on the wallet so that you can quickly install or launch it, meaning that all you have to do is tap to install the app or tap to launch the app. When you are ready, whenever you are done, you choose the share sheet, and then it lets you just send it via iCloud to the device that supports it. So any Apple Wallet device like my iPhone that supports it, as long as it's logged in with the same Apple ID, you can share it there. So you can see this was a bit of a what is the word I'm looking for? It was not a frictionless experience as I was getting this set up on a new iPad here, but after you start to get this figured out, you can really quickly scan coupons and pop that code in there as you want to. Or if you have member cards, a loyalty card, then you can add those. There are places where you can put images. I just passed on that for this one. So it's a very handy app for adding pass cards for things that you would otherwise not. Gas stations too, where you've typically go to get your gas perhaps, or petrol. And so you can use this to do that. Again, available on the Mac, available on iPhone, iPad, so you can create the cards that you want to create and store them very easily in your Apple Wallet. That, folks, is MakePass. It's available, again, for $4.99 in the App Store, and it seems to be one of the best that I've found for creating passes and cards for your Apple Wallet. It just works, and we love an app that just works.
I really like the grouping feature with this. I've used apps like Stowcard and others in the past, but the problem is they end up with everything being in one big clump. And so I'm there at the register trying to find, and I'm swiping through 50 different ones, and they're just not relevant. And so I'm looking forward to using this. I did not know about MakePass. I have just purchased it and downloaded it, and I will be setting that up later today.
Nice, nice. So I'll be playing some Apple Arcade games. You'll be creating some passes, and we will all be having fun because this is iOS Today, where we enjoy explaining and talking about apps and accessories this week and all sorts of things and answering your questions. And Rosemary loves building shortcuts for you. So you too can have your questions answered, your shortcuts built by sending us an email to iostoday@twit.tv. You can send that in text, or if you want to, you can also send audio and video, which we'll play on the show for you and for us as well. And so, yeah, it's just iostoday@twit.tv. Of course, we thank those of you who've tuned in live by going to twit.tv/live. We record every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific. And you can join the live chat by going to irc.twit.tv, which is a fun place to have conversations with everybody. But the best way to get the show is by subscribing, which you do by going to twit.tv/iOS and subscribe to the show in audio or video formats across all sorts of different platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, etc., etc., etc. Rosemary Orchard, if folks want to follow you online and check out your awesome work, where is the best place for them to go to do that?
Well, the best place to go is rosemaryorchard.com, which has links to all of the things I do, including this amazing podcast. And don't forget, you can also send us feedback on Twitter with the hashtag AskIOSToday if you want to, as well as sending us an email.
Nice. I am at Micah Sargent on many a social network, or you can head to chihuahua.coffee. That's CHIHUAHUA.coffee, where I've got links to many of the places that I'm most active online. Folks, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of iOS Today. We appreciate you, and goodbye until next time.
Hey, if you like tech news, but you also like hearing about it from the people who are actually writing the stories, well, I've got a show for you. It's called Tech News Weekly, and it's me, Jason Howell, along with my co-host Micah Sargent. Every week, we invite the people making and breaking the biggest tech news stories from around the web onto this show to talk to us about it. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. Tech News Weekly can be found at twit.tv/TNW every Thursday. We'll see you there.